Tanse, I'm Christian Ashkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. The Special Investigations Unit has been ordered to investigate an incident in Kenora, Ontario, after a woman went into medical distress while in police custody. Last Saturday, just after 11 a.m., the Ontario Provincial Police in Kenora located a woman with an outstanding warrant. She was arrested and taken to the local detachment and lodged in cells to wait for a bail hearing. On Sunday, just before 2 a.m., she went into medical distress and was taken to the local hospital. The SIU continues their investigation. A man from the Sebenegati First Nation has been arrested for allegedly assaulting a federal fisheries officer near Smith Settlement in Nova Scotia. Last Saturday at around 5 a.m., RCMP got a call about an assault near the settlement. On arrival, they learned that an uninformed DFO officer was hit by a vehicle while trying to conduct an inspection. The officer was not injured. RCMP arrested the 36-year-old river driver of the vehicle. A search of the vehicle turned up a collapsible baton and drug paraphernalia. A second man was arrested in connection with an ongoing Fisheries Act case but was released. The driver has been charged with assault with a weapon and will appear in court in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia on August 20th. Two teenagers from Webequie First Nation in Northern Ontario are facing arson and mischief charges after a fire caused an estimated $500,000 in damages in the community. Last Saturday, Anishinaabe-Aski police officers and community firefighters were dispatched to a fire at the community's airport. The fire was brought under control, but there was significant damage to the building. On Sunday, two local 13-year-olds were charged with arson and mischief over $5,000. Both were in court Monday and have been remanded in custody. Band leaders say they are working with the Ontario Transportation Ministry on a temporary facility and eventually a new terminal. Webequie is a fly-in community northeast of Thunder Bay. The recent election included a number of upsets, including a big one in the Ottawa area riding of Carleton, where a Liberal candidate knocked off the leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, on Monday night. APTN's Fraser Needham has that story.
Parliamentary privilege.
Pierre Poilievre was first elected in 2004 and then again for 6 straight elections. But that ended Monday night when Liberal candidate Bruce Fanjoy defeated the Conservative leader. APTN News profiled the Carleton riding during the campaign, and this is what Fanjoy had to say.
My opponent is a career politician, and I think that people are looking for candidates with real life experience. In my case, I had a long business career, successful business career. I've also been a long time community volunteer. I didn't see myself running for office one day, but eventually came to the conclusion that someone had to defeat Pierre Poilievre.
Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney, who is also an economist and a former governor of the Bank of Canada, also framed himself as not a career politician. Carney was elected in an adjacent riding of Nepean last night and mentioned Fanjoy in his victory speech.
Bruce. And Bruce, yes, Bruce Fanjoy. I'm looking forward to working with Bruce Fanjoy. Fantastic. He will be a great MP.
APTN News reached out to Bruce Fanjoy's campaign on Tuesday, but he was not available for comment. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The NDP also suffered a major loss at the polls on Monday night, losing official party status in the House of Commons. APTN's Tina House was at party leader Jagmeet Singh's headquarters in Vancouver and brings us this report.
Here at NDP headquarters in South Burnaby, party leader Jagmeet Singh and his wife entered the room filled with his supporters.
I want to take a moment to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on his victory. He has an important job to do to represent all Canadians and to protect our country and its sovereignty from the threats of Donald Trump. Tonight and every night, all of us here, we're on Team Canada. We want Canada to thrive, and we're going to continue to fight for Canada.
The election did not go as planned, and the NDP has lost official party status in the House of Commons. It's something that hasn't happened since 1993 under the leadership of Audrey McLaughlin. However, the following election, 1997, the NDP bounced back with official party status once again, until now. Jagmeet Singh also came in third in his own riding of South Burnaby, prompting a difficult decision from Singh.
Tonight, I've been forward a party leader that I'll be stepping down as party leader as soon as an interim leader can be appointed.
Siobhan Vipond is the Executive Vice President of the Canadian Labour Congress.
A bittersweet evening tonight. I think we're, obviously not at the end of it, but it's good to see that the conservative ideas haven't made it. I think people turn those down, but unfortunately it has meant that in areas the strategic vote has meant the loss of some really strong New Democrats, and that's a loss of some really strong voices speaking up for workers and community.
Kim Wright has been a New Democrat for 30 years.
We always kept our eye on the prize, and still do, of who we're actually doing this for, why we do this. It isn't because of some glorious thing in Parliament or fancy anything else. It's for people. How do you make lives better for Canadians and for our communities and to help one another? So we haven't lost sight of that, even though we lost a few seats tonight.
The New Democratic Party held on to 7 seats this time around, down from 25. Jagmeet Singh left his supporters with some final words.
Choosing to commit your life to politics obviously comes with some sacrifice, but we choose this life because of the chance to change the country we love for the better. We may lose sometimes, and those losses hurt, it's tough. But we are only defeated if we stop fighting. We're only defeated when we believe that those that tell us that we can never dream of a better Canada, a fairer Canada, a more compassionate Canada. I have met New Democrats from coast to coast to coast who will never back down, even when they're told that there's no room for them at the table.
In 2017, Jagmeet Singh became the first practicing Punjabi Sikh to ever be elected to lead a national party. He served as MP from 2019 to 2025 for the Burnaby South riding. An interim leader has not been announced as of yet. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
In Manitoba, the Winnipeg Center riding was the site of an incredibly tight battle between the Liberals and the NDP. While NDP incumbent Leah Gazan ultimately declared a victory, her party is now without status and a leader. Sierra Bettens takes a closer look.
Of excitement and relief for NDP MP Leah Gazan and her supporters. After a tight race between the NDP incumbent and Liberal challenger Rahul Walia, Gazan secured the Winnipeg Center seat for a third term.
People told me this was going to be a tough campaign, but we're a special community, and community came out for me in droves, and I'm so touched.
But the excitement was also bittersweet. As Gazan reclaimed her seat, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh resigned after losing his.
I'm only focused on tonight. Certainly we have to take some time and reflect on how we need to rebuild as a party. My focus has always been Winnipeg Center, the beautiful people in my community.
Paul Thomas, a professor emeritus of political studies at the University of Manitoba, says losing party status comes with significant setbacks.
Being an official party in the House of Commons brings you opportunities in terms of procedures, time in question period. It brings you places on the committee system that operates in the House of Commons, studying bills and studying policy areas and so on.
Gazan has advanced several Indigenous commitments at a federal level through NDP support. They include the Red Dress Alert pilot program from MMIWG2S and a House of Commons motion to recognize what happened in residential schools as an act of genocide. But Thomas says the loss of seats and party status could hinder the NDP's ability to push the Liberals to advance Indigenous issues.
They had a working partnership with the Liberals, and whatever else you might say about Justin Trudeau, he was identified with the Indigenous reconciliation file. He did make some progress on that file, and part of that presumably came because of pressure from his partner in the coalition, the informal coalition.
Despite the NDP's losses, Gazan says she remains committed to serving the people of Winnipeg Center.
We were in the fight of our life in Winnipeg Center. And you know why we won? We won because we believe in human rights at the center in Winnipeg.
Gazan is one of 11 Indigenous candidates who won in their ridings this election. The NDP now holds 7 of 344 seats, down from 25 in the 2021 federal election. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
It was at the top of the list for the 36 ridings identified as a swing riding by the Assembly of First Nations. Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski riding in Manitoba was a huge upset for the NDP, but a gain for the Liberals and an added seat which is now being held by an Indigenous MP. With more, here's T.R. Wheatley.
The people have spoken!
Liberal candidate Rebecca Chartrand celebrated a huge win, taking the 17-year NDP stronghold riding Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski. The crowd that gathered inside the South Beach Casino in Broken Head, Ojibwe Nation was small, but had many key influential people around her from all corners of her riding. While Broken Head isn't a community in her riding, it borders it, and the casino is co-owned by many First Nations in Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski. Amongst her first words after her win, a promise to her constituents.
We need major bridge building in this riding because we need to make sure that this riding is a centerpiece as we start re-envisioning the Canadian economy.
Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski covers about 75% of Manitoba, a huge riding that Chartrand canvassed until the very end. Spending the last day here in Sagkeeng Anishinaabe Nation, door-knocking and offering people rides to the polls until they closed. Within the Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski region, there are 38 First Nations, and Sagkeeng Anishinaabe Nation is the furthest south. E.J. Fontaine is the chief here and also spent Election Day getting his members to the polls, hoping to swing the vote from orange to red.
Because we need somebody that's going to be part of the government. In the past 17 years, no disrespect to Nikki, but she hasn't delivered any real tangible results for our people here.
Fontaine says despite the riding covering 42,000 kilometers, the issues are the same. Poor infrastructure like lack of housing, access to clean drinking water, and poor connectivity in both internet and roads, with many First Nations on the east side of Winnipeg in need of an all-weather road. Just as important, an investment in people by developing trade programs to not only tackle the unemployment rate, but to build up communities.
Nobody better to do that than one of our own, Anishinaabe Quay lady, woman, that understands our plight.
A plight Chartrand says made her turn to politics in the first place, with goals of tackling the ongoing violence on Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people.
Right, I lost 2 of my own friends, and we had a cousin who went missing too. So these are the issues that bring us to this work, and I had done a lot of work around MMIW.
Work that many at this celebration say needs to start now, including Logan Morasti, a youth from Brochet who joined the campaign to learn more about the issues himself.
It's been a long road, and I'm so grateful that I got to learn from 2 of the best and such a great team, and I look forward to the good to come.
T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Broken Head.
NDP MP Lori Idlout also managed to keep her seat in this election. That story when we come back. Welcome back. After electoral boundaries changed and the longtime Conservative incumbents stepped down, Northern Saskatchewan elected a new party. While Saskatchewan usually votes Conservative, that changed on Monday. Here's APTN's Rachel May now with the newly elected MP Buckley Belanger, who turned half the province red.
But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of voters out there that aren't buying the Conservative line and argument anymore. And we want to be able to share with all of Saskatchewan, with a particular focus on Northern Saskatchewan, as I've indicated, with all of Saskatchewan, what exactly the federal government is hoping to do to help Saskatchewan and include Saskatchewan and bring hope and opportunity to Saskatchewan without it going through the Conservative lens.
In 2019 and 2021, the Conservative Party swept all 14 seats in Saskatchewan. But last night, a large part of the province flipped. Buckley Belanger won the Desnethy-Missinippi-Churchill River riding for the Liberals, with just over 65% of the vote. Conservative Jim LeMeg came second with just over 25%, followed by NDP's Doug Racine with just over 9%. Although Desnethy-Missinippi-Churchill River is just one seat, it covers all of northern Saskatchewan. Belanger said the size of the riding means there's plenty of opportunity to represent Saskatchewan federally.
It's a huge piece of land. There's so much wealth on that piece of land. And what we're trying to do is make sure we connect the issues and challenges of our community to the wealth of that land so we can forge a better path forward for our children and grandchildren.
Belanger said he's been knocking on doors, hearing 4 key things voters expect from him as their MP.
Number 1 is you stay humble. Number 2 is you work hard. Number 3, be very aggressive. And of course, number 4, do not forget the folks that got you there. So I got my standing orders and we're going to follow it into a T.
He said Saskatchewan is starting to embrace the Liberals, and he believes Prime Minister-elect Mark Carney is the most qualified to lead.
So in these tumultuous times, he's been a solid leader, and you're going to see over several years what Carney can do. And I'm telling people of the province, after you've seen what he can do, then you'll know that he is a true leader and hopefully elect more Saskatchewan Liberal MPs as we move forward.
Belanger hopes Saskatchewan will elect more Liberal MPs next election. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
To the north now, where NDP incumbent Lori Idlout narrowly won her seat back with a lead of only 77 votes. Idlout finished the election with 2,945 votes, while Liberal candidate Kiliak Vakabluna followed close behind with 2,868 votes. Conservative candidate James T. Arick finished third with 2,055 votes. In a conversation with APTN during the campaign, Idlout said if she were re-elected, she would work to resolve the housing crisis in Nunavut and help fortify Arctic sovereignty by improving marine infrastructure and airports. A familiar face in the Yukon won the territory's only seat in the House of Commons. Here's Sarah Connors with that story.
Liberal incumbent candidate Brendan Hanley received a warm welcome at his election watch party Monday night. Hanley will return to Ottawa to represent the Yukon riding after winning close to 53% of the vote.
I am so proud to be part of a re-elected Liberal government, and
prior to entering politics, Hanley was the territory's chief medical officer of health and helped guide the territory through the COVID-19 pandemic. He took a leave of absence to run for the Liberals in 2021. Hanley says he plans to continue to advocate for Yukoners on issues like housing, climate change, and affordability. He also hopes to advance reconciliation efforts.
Reconciliation continues to be a journey that we need to continue on in partnership with First Nations and always listening to First Nation priorities to the communities.
Of course, it's no secret a fourth Liberal win didn't seem possible just months ago.
How many times have I heard over the last 6 months about polls and how bad the Liberals are going to lose this, that we wouldn't have a party left?
But the tide shifted after the re-election of U.S. President Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau's resignation as Liberal Party leader. Now with Mark Carney at the helm, Hanley says there's hope as the Liberals forge ahead with a minority government.
Canadians wanted a change, and change is happening whether we like it or not. Under Mark Carney's leadership, we will stand up to Donald Trump and his tariff threats and his attacks on our national sovereignty.
With the party in power once again, Hanley is confident his government can and will rise to the challenge. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
The Makavik Corporation, which represents Inuit in northern Quebec, is crying foul after voters in a number of communities could not vote in Monday's federal election. The corporation says Elections Canada should investigate reports of polling stations in Nunavut, either closing early or not opening at all. Elections Canada says there was difficulty in hiring polling staff, and bad weather on election day was also a factor. Makavik says every Inuk in Nunavut should be able to vote, and issues like this are unacceptable in 2025. We now want to tell you about this week's second web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, do you think your interests would be better represented if we elected prime ministers independently from members of parliament? Your answers are yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca/polls to have your say. A man from the Ocean Man First Nation in southern Saskatchewan has recently released some new music. That story when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. We're having some technical issues with our weather. We'll try bring that back to you in our next newscast. An Ocean Man First Nation artist has found an interesting way to discuss financial literacy among Indigenous people. Jakota released his new EP titled Echelon, which focuses on wealth empowerment and education. Veronica Blackhawk has more.
Human rights is the law that we administer. MP the premier, next is the prime minister.
Jakota is Justin Holness, a musician and entrepreneur based in Ocean Man First Nation in Saskatchewan. He is Afro-Indigenous and identifies as Jamaican and Nakota Assiniboine, which greatly impacts his entrepreneurial and artistic journey.
As an independent artist, it allows me to be sovereign in my decision making. And that's a big part of the message in this next album, Echelon, is about sovereignty, financial independence. And so it's really an empowerment of the welfare of people and the planet. We sprinkle some, wealth coaching in there, but really it's just an amplification of the higher levels that our people are reaching.
Female-owned businesses breaking glass ceilings. The struggle our women go through, you'll never know the feeling.
During a time when Indigenous communities are seeing an influx in cash through payouts like agricultural benefits through treaties known as cows and plows, Jakota uses his platform and rap music to challenge harmful stereotypes around money and spending.
I want to be able to do my part to empower this conversation, empower young people, entrepreneurs to create their own sources of revenue and find different ways to use income, money as a resource and figure out how we can create generational wealth. It's something that we're not necessarily fully comfortable with yet. I think we're still on our learning journey. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done.
A passionate advocate for BIPOC entrepreneurs, Jakota is in the business of helping others. He encourages new business owners to connect with him through Ohidiga, a company he started which develops business strategies for other up-and-comers.
I'm trying to speak to those who might resonate with what I'm saying, who might be ready for what I'm saying. And I think it's an important message to really amplify where we're going as Indigenous people. I want to celebrate that because I think it's exciting and I think it's important that we highlight the successes, we highlight our accomplishments as a means of inspiration and motivation.
Echelon is available on all major streaming platforms.
I said it already, we're never backing down.
Veronica Blackhawk, APTN National News.
Thank you, Veronica. And that's your daytime newscast for this Wednesday. We're back again in a few hours for your evening newscast. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.